Hello, here to talk to you guys a little bit about raw milk and the Weston A. Price Foundation once again. I am actually looking here at a study or an article that is pretty recent. It's Monday, December 16th, 2013, Health Day News. And they're talking about how the American Academy of Pediatrics is speaking out against foundations like Weston A. Price Foundation, and the idea is that you should feed your kids raw milk or anything made from raw milk. So they talk about how, Sally Fallon Morell likes to say, she just comes up with these figures, doesn't show where she gets them, but wants to say that, only an average of about 50 illnesses each year are reported, and there's 10 million drinkers of raw milk. So the figures are so low, the percentages are so low, and they talk about this all over their site. Well, first of all, there's nowhere near 10 million. Maybe more like 3 million is the figures that I've personally looked up and seen. So your percentage goes up a lot higher when you look at the real amount of people who are actually drinking raw milk. So it goes on to talk about how those numbers, of course, clash with the CDC. They're saying, between 1998 and 2011, there were outbreaks, about 2,400 illnesses, 284 hospitalizations, and 2 deaths. So that would be an average of about 200. So that's about 4 times what Sally Fallon Morell would like to admit. So again, we see a case of flat out lies. Okay, and not only that, we're just talking about the outbreaks here, okay? Health officials will declare an outbreak when at least 2 people get sick from the same food. But if there's a sporadic case where somebody gets food poisoning, but nobody else happens to either get sick or happens to report it, which, how often do you really think that happens? People who honestly are feeding their kids raw milk, do you think they really want to go out and tell everybody, hey, I just poisoned my kid because I got raw milk and gave it to them against the advice of, just about everybody in the world? No, they don't. They're not really jumping to want to admit that, even to themselves, probably. So really, you have to look at all these numbers, especially, that they're throwing around on their side. You have to be objective when looking at this. So when you look at Minnesota, this article is talking about Minnesota. They're looking into these, and they found that over a decade, 21 people got food poisoning and 5 outbreaks linked to raw dairy products. But there were an additional 530 individual cases reported to the state. So we're talking Salmonella, E. coli, etc. So it's just so crazy. Outbreaks, are just the tip of the iceberg, basically, is what the article is saying. So, and like I said, they touch on that. Many cases are not even reported. They're estimating that about 17% of people who drank raw milk over the 10-year study got sick from it. So again, much different numbers. Now here's the real kicker, is that these poor people who are getting sick, 63% of them are not even making their own choice to drink raw milk. They don't even have a choice. They're being poisoned by well-intentioned parents who think it's a good thing for them to do. And basically, 63% are 10 years or younger. An 11-month-old died from complications from E. coli infection. People want to sit here and say, well, Sally Fallon says that nobody's ever died. It's BS, okay? Right here in the article. I'm not saying I believe every single thing I read, but come on, use your common sense. 11-month-old died from E. coli. Another child was sickened by E. coli, and then Salmonella a year later. It says over 3/4 of children 5 years or younger are being served were being served raw milk from their own farm. So people, they think it's okay because, oh, they know the farmers and they're taking care of the animals and they're doing the best that they can. They think they have higher standards than everybody else, so it can't happen. But it does happen, and there's proof right here. So obviously there's no evidence that raw milk is healthy or safe at all. It can become very contaminated even under supposed good practices. So please protect your children and stop buying into Weston A. Price and other people who are telling you to feed your kids raw milk when you're not doing your research.